So I've been observing the different kinds of environments that I've been taking a part in within the last couple months or so. And I've come to the conclusion that the environments that you are a part of actually define who you are. Actually. For some examples, if you don't know what I do and who I am, basically I go out there and I work outside from different coffee shops on my business because I can work on my laptop. And so I help clients, or as I might, I would call them clients, but I work with different business owners in different industries, mostly within premium industries, that people that really care about their service, really believe that they're doing a better job than the competition. And I go out there and I work, and I've worked with inside a lot of different coffee shops because I don't really like working from home, to be perfectly honest with you, because there's a lot of things to think about at home, and it's quiet, and I feel distracted basically because it makes me think about a bunch of different things. And when I'm outside, I'm not thinking about those things because I'm focused on the key task at hand right in front of me, right? And it just started slightly drizzling, so I'm just gonna go get my umbrella just to make sure. All right, got the umbrella, and yes, this is going to be unedited. I don't really like editing my videos too much, so that way you guys can have a raw, unfiltered piece of lesson to think about for the rest of today. So, what have I noticed in these different coffee shops whenever I go outside and I work? So, I've been going to a lot of different coffee shops, from the lowest end to the higher end, more focused on the corporate business coffee shops. And what I've noticed is that, since, for context, I live in Auckland, New Zealand right now, in the Central Business District, CBD, and I noticed that most business coffee shops that are within all the corporate buildings, most of the time, like I'd say probably 70 to 80% of the people there are people that just work in the office. So it's not people that you really want to surround yourself with, because they're not really going to be able to connect you with the right people if you really want to make use of that networking advantage and the social interaction. But it is quite good in terms of working environment, because it makes you switched on, because everybody's in work mode. So that's an energy you can feel for yourself. And so by just putting myself in that environment, I felt way more switched on and focused on the key task at hand. No distractions. I felt more calm and collected, basically. Now, different other coffee shops that I've went to, more on the lower end, more of the people that go outside, they just go to a coffee shop chain where they go to this easy peasy coffee shop, this small thing, right? They go there because they want to chill with their family, with their friends, or they want to read a book, or they want to do something chill. They don't necessarily want to work, right? Or they're just looking for a place to like just chill for a bit. And so by going there, the atmosphere and vibe didn't really make me want to stay long there, because it didn't really fit with what I was doing. Because I'm always making sure that I'm dressed properly for the occasion, and I'm always making sure that I'm taking care of myself physically, and that I'm always fucking working when I'm outside. So it got to the point where I was like, okay, maybe I can find something better. So I tried something else, and I noticed, like, I must have tried like maybe like a dozen different coffee shops, and the one that stood out was the one that was the most busy. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Not only do some corporate people come here, but there's also some business people that come here that work on their laptop. There's students, there's a little bit of everything, right? And this is more interesting because you never know who you might meet in there. So started going to this specific coffee shop, which has a bigger surface area, which you can sit down order tea, coffee, whatever the fuck, bread, if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm not. And so basically I just go there, get my usual order, and then sit down and work for a couple hours on my laptop. And it's been pretty good because after you go for a longer period of time, people start to notice that you're there all the time, like every single day. And especially the staff, right? The staff are always nice. If you're nice to them, they're always going to be nice to you, right? So that's the experience I've noticed with coffee shops personally here in Auckland. And I think it's probably the same thing pretty much anywhere you go, to be perfectly honest with you. Because at the end of the day, the environment that you're part of, not only does it impact you in terms of what kind of people you can meet there, but also in terms of the energy that feels like. How does the coffee shop feel? How does the vibe feel? How do the people feel? Like, what does that look like? That's what I've noticed over the past couple months of just doing that over and over and over again. Now, there's not just that, okay? The other thing is, and I'm gonna use my umbrella because I don't want to be, I don't want to have wet hair or whatever. So, at the end of the day, what you need to think for yourself is that your environment impacts you way deeper than you actually think. Now, what does this mean? What does this signify? What does this entail? Well, at the end of the day, your home, your outside environment, your city, your anything that's around you that you go to, like the gym, the library, the restaurants, the whatever it may be, okay? If you go to the club, if you go to the bar, if you whatever, okay? All of these environments impact you on a deeper level, because the more time you spend over there, the more you're like that environment bleeds onto you as an individual. That's what I've noticed. And so, for instance, I personally like the only real places that I go to anymore are like coffee shop to work outside, then it would be going to the gym, then it would be walking around the center of town, just around the port area, just walking, not really standing in specific areas. And then it would be maybe going to the bookstore, the library, or maybe the dry cleaners to get the suit cleaned, right? But to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really stay in any singular place for a longer period of time, other than, I think the longest period of time at one per session, let's say, is definitely the coffee shop, because I go there for a couple hours every single day. So that's probably the place where I spend the most time, which is the most interesting, because I picked the place where there's a lot of different types of people, so that way I might be able to meet somebody interesting. You never know. You never know. So yeah, that's what I notice. Another thing is your home, your house, your apartment, whatever you might live in. I noticed something really peculiar about keeping a clean, tidy, and neatly organized place to live in, because it impacts your mental health as well. If you ever have gone into somebody's life and noticed that their house is like dirty or like disorganized or just like not neat, not comfy, not whatever, okay? Well, you notice that it's a direct reflection of what their mind looks like. And this is especially true whenever they're living with other people, because whenever you're living with other people, you're crisscrossing over other people's environment, right? So in that case, your environment and their environment bleeds onto each other, which means if you cannot find a structured system, then both of you are going to struggle to keep an organized and clean environment for the both of you, okay? This is what I've noticed. I had a girlfriend, one of my girlfriends, maybe like a couple months ago, I went to her fucking house, I guess, and she lived with two of her brothers, I think, and So the house was like pretty disorganized, not really well cleaned, not really well maintained, and there were 3 bedrooms, right? And so now everything didn't feel put together, right? It felt like I needed to clean something in the house, which is not a good place to be in, because compared to my own apartment, to my own place, everything is just clean. Like in the morning, I wake up, I do my bed, then I take a shower, then I groom myself, then I get dressed, then I take some breakfast, whatever, okay? I do all the base daily necessities first thing in the morning, so that the rest of the day it's clean, it's taken care of, okay? It's very important, not only for myself, but also for my flatmate, because I've got one of my family members staying with me, so I'm always making sure that we share tasks. Like I said, like, hey, this week I'm gonna do the cleaning, next week you need to do the cleaning, and we alternate, and we've got a very structured system, so that way we keep the house as clean as possible. Now, of course, he's got his own bedroom and his own bathroom, right? But at the end of the day, my bedroom, my bathroom, and the living room is all structured neatly and clean and organized, right? As much as possible. So that has told me so much more than I needed to know about other people and about myself, because at the end of the day, I feel like I need to clean the place so that it reflects on my mind. If you have a disorganized and not tidy place to live in, it's going to bleed onto your personal values. What do I mean by this? Well, when you have a very disorganized and dirty house, it's going to bleed into your mind, and your mind is going to be like, it's fine, I can just cut corners, I can just take shortcuts, I can just not do it 100% of the time, I can be more lenient, I can be more tolerant to not doing it the right way, and it's going to bleed onto your habits, right? Which is not good, especially if you want to start a business, especially if you want to start if you have like a long-term goal that you want to obtain, or like a long-term career, or like a long-term I don't know, job, or something more substantial that you're working on and you're building, right? Well, in that case, if you actually want to get that, to achieve that, what I noticed is most important is making sure that every single area in your life is taken care of to as much as you can percent. Now, what does that look like? Well, first off, you need to be taking care of your physical health, you need to be taking care of your mental health, and you need to be taking care of your home's health. Those are the 3 places, because the 2 places that you spend the most time with, and the people that you spend the most time with as well, are yourself and your house. Like, your house is probably the place that you spend the most time with. So in that case, why wouldn't you try and make it as clean and as neat and as great as possible? Like, it would only make sense to do that. Because if you don't respect yourself, then of course you're not going to do it. But if you do respect yourself, you will stand taller with a higher level of standards and principles, and think to yourself, okay, I want to respect myself. I respect myself. I have self-esteem, so I will clean my home. I don't even really need to think about it. It's just something I do, right? And at one point in time, it wasn't me, right? I used to be the guy who just didn't do anything and let my parents do everything. And now I'm the guy doing more than they are, because I believe that it is extremely important for men and women, regardless, to take care of their environment. Because what if it gets dirty? What if it gets what if there's like mold? What if there's stuff like that grows? Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't want to have a fucking damp, shitty, moist carpet, right? Like, you don't want to have dirty windows. You don't want to have, like, every single time I walk into my house, I'm like, I don't even need to think about these things, because it's not part of the environment. Like, the environment is clean, pristine, and as much as I possibly can. Now, of course, there were a few elements I'm renting out of this apartment at the moment. So of course there were a few things that I could not fix or I could not make better because they were already in a kind of like degraded state, I guess would be the word. Like, that's a strong word, but there's a few things, like for instance maybe like the guys who went and did a painting job on this fucking windowsill here didn't really do a good job, and there's like paint at the bottom of the window. So those kinds of things I can't fix it, right? Like the paint is going to be there forever. I can't get rid of it. Like, I don't know how to do that. So unless I look it up or I ask, whatever, you know. So it's those kinds of things, like keeping it as clean as possible. It's like vacuuming, cleaning the windows, cleaning the windowsills, cleaning the bottoms of like the corners of the room, everything under the carpet, under your, like, clean your sheets, your bed sheets, your pillowcases, whatever it may be. Clean everything, bro. Dust everything down from top to bottom. Make sure everything feels clean, smells good, and not only will you feel better about yourself, but whenever you're inviting someone into your place, it's perfect. You don't even need to do anything. You don't even need to prepare. You don't even need to to do more work. The point is, it's ready to go. It's that simple. Especially, like, for instance, I'm speaking to the men here. If you want to go dating, and if you want to take chicks back to your house, they want to know that they're coming into a clean, pristine environment. They don't want to feel like a fucking just a hoe that you picked up on the side of the street and that you're taking back to your place to have a good time or whatever, and not care about the environment. Like, if you actually want a girlfriend, you actually need to put some effort into making your place feel comfortable, cozy, and safe. Because if they come in the house and they're like, oh, then she might not want to sleep with you. Could happen. Doesn't never happen to me because I take care of my place. But speaking from people I heard say this. So, how does environment affect you at the end of the day? Well, not only do the places you go outside affect you substantially, because there are other people there, because the energy's different, because things happen, conversations happen, but your own environment matters as well. Those are probably the two things that I would say are like truly, truly important and truly matter that you can affect right now, because you can choose not to go somewhere, or you can choose to go somewhere, and it's going to change your perspective on things. It is going to bleed some different types of vibes and energy on top of you. Maybe you want to go to a business coffee shop so that way you feel better about yourself because everybody's working, everybody's in work mode, and you might be able to network with a couple people. Or you might want to go to a corporate coffee shop so that way it feels clean, collected, calm, good energy, good vibe, so that way you can focus on working on your laptop. Maybe you want to go to a more cozy coffee shop so that way you might meet women. Maybe you want to go to the gym where there's a lot of people, younger people that go to, so that way you might get a hookup or a date or whatever the fuck you want to do. I personally wouldn't do that because I go to a more of a niche gym where there's more like older people that go there, because it's a more chill, calm vibe where there's not that many people that actually go into the gym. It's a smaller gym, so that way I can go there, do my thing, and then go back to work and then go back home or whatever. So that way I'm not focusing, I'm not going to the gym to date, right? I'm not going to the gym to put myself in an environment where I see a bunch of women in fucking skimpy ass fucking clothes and whatever, you know, like I don't care about that. So I also go to the pool, I guess, so I mean that's part of the gym, so whatever. So at the end of the day, your environment impacts you way more than you actually think, so you need to be wary of whatever you do, wherever you go, and you need to take care of your own home, because your own home is kind of like an extension of you at the end of the day. And I don't remember how many times I said at the end of the day, but if you want to count them, go ahead and post in the comments. But your home is very important. Take care of it as much as you take care of yourself. And you'll find yourself thanking not only me for telling you this, but also yourself for doing it and taking care of it. And with that said, I appreciate every single one of you guys watching until the end of the video. And as per usual, I post every single day. So if you want to check out my other videos, check out on the channel. Got a couple of videos backed up, and I will be posting tomorrow. So with that said, it's a beautiful day. It's a bit windy, it's a bit chilly, but still back to work. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.